Now how we do that? What are the activities we do? I will mention some activities we do that. But before that, I want to ask you this. Raise your hand if you are doing at least 5 different activities other than lecturing in your class intentionally. Raise your hand. Now lecturing is the common things we do. You get your slide, you go and talk about what is your slides. Raise your hand that when you design your syllabus, you knowingly put at least 5 different activities besides lecturing, because this is the age-old way of teaching. So tell me that if you are one of those that you have some things beside the lecturing in your class. Yes, please. 1, 2, in your syllabus. Okay, so what is, can you give me an example what you do beside the lecturing?
Okay, I would have some games that we can play, and we'll use one of the applications. It's called Lucky Roulette.
So the game. So use the game. What else? Yes. Huh?
Role play.
Role playing. Again, it's role playing through understanding the subject. Okay. What else? Anyone else want to? Yes.
Connection to real life.
How do you do that?
Through some questioning.
Some?
Through some questioning.
Questioning. Good. Very good. What else? Yes.
Some sort of on-off mechanism. So just like you have 10 minutes of lecture, then it's an off time, and then 2-3 minutes just a sort of different kind of activities, a discussion, real life examples, whatever. Then again on, back to the slides. So this on-off mechanism.
Yeah, this is what I call. This is what I call. It seems like you're having mental break.
It's a sort of on-off.
So you kind of give a mental break to really to give them little time to refresh, and you get back them to the core subject again. Good. So what you do? What you do during this break? So you ask some questions.
Sometimes just the jokes as well.
Okay.
So it's not just about, because it's a 50-minute
Sure.
or 75-minute lectures. So it depends what kind of a topic we are discussing. Is it very intense or not? But sometimes just different cultural jokes, which are somehow related with something. So it's not all about academics all the time.
What else? Very good. Yes.
We ask their experiences and what they have problems and how they have solved that.
Okay. Very good. Yes.
It will be like interactive sessions along with quiz programs.
Okay. What you do again? Repeat one more time.
Interactive sessions.
Okay.
We'll be discussing.
Discussion. Interaction.
And sometimes quiz.
Quiz. Great. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you talk about the research, that is, in research you have done that is related, and then you talk about the story of how the research evolved, and how it relates to the subject matter.
I see. So you give them certain scenario
Yes.
to think on that one and to relate. Good. Yes.
Sometimes the student behavior generates discussion. For example, if the student close the door in a way not appreciable by his colleague, we discuss the physical action which is caused by the opening and closing of the door. If you make sounds.
Very good. Okay, let me change a little bit the question a little bit different. Now, how many of you use the assessment method, a grading activity other than exams? How many different things you do beside the exam, whether it be quizzes or midterm or final? Graded activity. What are the graded activity you have it?
I have a survey
Okay.
before the lecture and after the lecture.
Do you grade them?
No.
I'm talking about graded activity.
Task activity, sometimes we give them a task and we ask questions. We tell them to prepare, we divide them in a group, and each and every student are asked questions.
Okay.
We grade them.
So you grade them. So it is a graded activity based on the discussion and the questions. Okay, what else? Brainstorming session grade. How do you grade the brainstorming session?
How much they participate, what is the initiative?
So you give them a participation grade. But how do you know how each one of them participate? Do you have a particular way to measure that?
I have an analysis questionnaire.
Okay. Yes? Presentation, student presentation? Okay, you grade them. Good. Yes?
Role play, we assign the roles and the teams and we ask them to do the things and we have a checklist.
Good. So you assess them, you grade them. Yes?
I would give them an assignment, research assignment actually an assignment to look at a research article, not textbook, and then present that research, and in that grading, because sometimes when you give students a research topic, they come up with a different topic entirely. What they think is related to what they have seen in the literature. So grade them, have a rubrics whereby we grade that, with the correct topic, maybe 0.5, the in-text reference and things like that, and correct reference, you give them a grade like that.
Very good. So, yes?
In the system we use here, there is a 20% for the contribution participation, whatever you want.
20%.
Yeah, 20%. So it's part of the overall assessment,
Mhm.
not just formal assessment. One thing that I've found personally interesting is if you want to fight procrastinate, is to force them to do some reading at home. And when they come to their report orally. So I just read out a name. And the person is expected to answer a particular question based on the material that's been given to them. So that way I can grade them, give them, and it's motivating for them to do their work at home, because there is a big problem with motivation at home also, not just in class.
So in this case, you give some reading assignments.
Well, I don't give the reading, it's part of the reading, it's part of the course conception.
Mhm.
It's a reading-based course.
Of course, I see. So you want to make sure that they prepare before coming to class. Okay. So here is what I want to share with you. I actually went through my own teaching activities. I came up with the list, and actually I can explain, I came up with the list of 21 different activities that actually I do in the class to help students to learn. So again, you can see that, so the brain exercise, some of them are graded, some are not graded. The brain exercise is not graded directly, but it's graded in terms of the participation grade. So every class, almost every class, I start with brain exercise. I choose some things for 5 to 7 minutes to discuss them and then to link to the subject and move on to the subject. So it's basically appetizer. Socratic Forum is a graded activity that I use through the e-learning system, that I identify certain subjects and have them to engage in discussion, that they grade it based on their discussion. It's a free thinking discussion. There's no right and wrong question, wrong answer, but it has to be engaged. I grade them from 1 to 10 and directly put their score every week and then give them feedback, and in this case, in terms of how they do the discussion. The sharing forum, this again is the online one, is basically they can do this and they get the mark for this one as a bonus mark, as a sign of engagement for their participation. Motivational forum, again I use this one for online participation as well. Applied paper is that they have to prepare the paper and present in a class, and make in-class presentation is like a research paper they have to do at the end of semester. And the assignment, I use weekly assignment of every subject we learn in class. They have to have an assignment and practice what they learn at home. And it is graded assignment. Now I know a lot of works, but there's actually technology. Apply is one of the system now. I think they are now this semester. They're combining this with Mind Tab, if you're using that Cengage. So, and it's one very, very useful one. I was the first one using in the university. I have been using for several years. It takes away all the burden from you. The guy who came up with the system is an economist. He got Nobel Prize last year actually. He's a professor at Yale University. So it's really a great customized algorithmic system for assignments. So I strongly recommend that you use one of the online applications for the assignment. And I assume that depending on your subject, you might find someone from one of a major publisher, because it takes away the burden of grading, but meanwhile it pushes students to really study and do on a weekly basis. In-class bonus activity. This is one thing, I will show you the survey result. This is one thing students absolutely like a lot. So basically, my idea is very simple. You don't have to wait for some native exam at the end of semester. You can test them right away in the class. When I teach subjects, sometimes I say at the beginning of class, I say, today I'm going to have a bonus question worth of 25 marks for your midterm. Now things the level of interest in the subjects. Then at the end, I ask a question that relates to the entire subject I covered. And sometimes I say, okay, the first one get 25, second get 20, third get 15 marks. And then I have them to compete with each other to get the answer. And I find out this is very, very helpful to attract their attention to the subject. And after all, I mean, the grade is really abundant for us. No big deal. If this is what they are looking for, you can easily give them the grade as long as it is fairly distributed. That means everyone has an equal opportunity to get that one. In-class discussion, again, we do this one a lot, that I think is very important for interaction. Sometimes we have a graded in-class debate depending on the subject. So we give the subject in advance, they have to prepare as a group, and they will debate and they get graded accordingly, they get a score based on their performance. Book review, it becomes an essential thing that every semester, for every class that I teach, there is always assigned book review for bonus mark. Because I really think that reading is essential for learning. And unfortunately, though the very first ayah was Iqra, it seems like people just get it wrong as if don't read. They don't read here. So, and I encourage them to read. I reward them if they read. I have certain books, like in Principle of Economics, What Money Can't Buy is very good book, relevant. And it's related to the subject we cover in the class, but it's written for general public. It helped them to basically gain the love of learning and reading. So that's what I do. I grade this one, I give them mark. But what I do for this, I realize that they go and actually just hire someone to do the summary, and then they watch some video on YouTube and come and say, I read the book. Fine. What I do, I develop a way. I give them assessment. If they do not get a passing score of 60 in the assessment, they get actually minus 10 in the final exam. And I give the minus score because that means you're wasting my time, and that was the best way for me to make sure that they're not playing game with me. Because otherwise, the bonus mark, everyone just come and say, oh, I read the book, and they go and read something online and come and pretend as if they read it, which is not fair. So that's how I do. But if they do properly, they can get up to 20 marks for final exam. And that's really big reward for them, and it's worked very well. So we have a big book review discussion in class, and that's part of the grading as well. I use videos and discussion on videos a lot. Not today because of the time and technical issue, we didn't use that one. But I think YouTube is absolute treasure for teaching. And I think that everyone should make sure that they utilize YouTube videos in their teaching. And I do almost every lectures. I have all my in this case, the videos. What I do, I also ask students to share through the sharing forum. When they share good videos, I actually put in my inventory, and I use next semester in my class as well. So in a way that I have hundreds of people searching for me online to find what are the interesting, relevant videos on the subjects. And we use this one. It's very, very useful. Discussion of current events. As we like the fresh food, we really want to make sure that the idea is also fresh. So we need to make sure that we update our knowledge and we do not repeat ourselves when we go to the class. So that's basically, in this case, we need to have some discussion of the current events to ignite the interest. The peer assessment, I use this one as well. I give them a bonus mark and have them to assess each other. I give them a rubric and tell them how they can do that, and that's also work well. Quick polls, I use this one very often as well. So basically, I'll put a short question and then have them to answer, and it will show the result there and have discussion on their answers. That's really helped a lot. Game, we have in economics, we have a game theory, is an entire discipline. And when we teach this subject, we actually did play game for the mark. and for the data collection for a research paper as well. And they really, really like it this as well. So again, you can, those are the things that, pair and sharing, as we do here, we can do this, we do this one in the class as well. Nudging through feedback, nudging is also one of very important concept. So basically it means that, it means that you give some feedback to students to encourage them, to give them more confidence. The way I do that, if it is online, let's say Socratic Forum, if they have a great idea, I praise them by name and highlight their great contribution. And the same things, let's say, even in class when those students who get really good mark A, then actually I call their name and have everyone to applaud them in the class as well. So in the sense that I try to really nudge everyone toward excellence in this regard. So again, active learning in class exercise and the different ways that we design to make sure that students are directly involved in that. Now, how do we know which work, which doesn't work? Now, every semester, I think with the exception of 1 or 2 semesters, for last several years, at the end of semester, I actually do my own survey with students. Once the semester is over, I have my own questions, and I have my survey consists of 2 parts. The first part is about the methodology and the teaching method that I use. The second part is about the outcome. So I try to see what works, what doesn't work, and whether I accomplished the objective or not in terms of the outcome. I will show it to you to see what you think. So the first one, like the first part is I enjoy and benefited greatly from weekly lectures. Now pay attention to the green one. The dark green is strongly agree. The light green is agree. So basically both you can things combine. So green one is agreed with the statement. So if you combine them, you can see it is a 50-80%, which is, as I told you before, to me is the goal. If I can reach 80%, I say that's really good success, because I can't really make everyone happy. Question? So therefore, for me, the target is 80%. But I want to have 80% here. But again, even if it's here, that's still fine for me, because that means that overall, they are fine with what is going on in class. Now look at this and look at this. Did you see the difference? Look at the green one. This is about PowerPoint. So obviously, so what is happening with PowerPoint? They're not that excited with PowerPoint as we imagine. Okay? So actually, I realized this. I used to spend a lot of time on PowerPoint. Later, I realized that students are not that much fun of PowerPoint at all. So that you need to do many other things. And yeah, you can still use PowerPoint, but you should not rely on PowerPoint. You should really have some other thing, have them to engage, to do something, to write. So, and PowerPoint alone is really not creating high satisfaction. The brain exercise, look at here again, is basically is a 74% in total. They enjoy from the brain exercise at the beginning. Again, not everyone like, but majority, overwhelming majority like that. Now you can see here there are some comments. They basically say teaching was excellent. Food for mind was great in terms of linking the topic with life. The fact that you interact with us in the beginning of almost each class. So again, you can see that they really like at the beginning when you have this initial engagement. So again, it says that it was pretty interesting. Best aspect of the lecture were the brain exercise, which ignited my desire to learn something new and got my brain kicking. So that's really, really very good confession. So student is saying that the brain exercise that we had at the beginning was really the way that ignite the interest and make the brain to wake up from sleep and get engaged in learning. My favorite was the brain exercise for sure. It was very beneficial and great tool to be used with teaching adults and to add their contribution to the class through discussion. For me, it allowed me to prepare myself before the start of the lecture, and every week I get excited about the next one. I like all the tools and techniques in the class to grab our attention through the whole 3 hours without daydreaming for a second. I like you are great again. So you can see that basically the brain exercise did indeed work very well for students. The other one I enjoy and benefited greatly from the in-class debate and interaction. Look here. So 41 strongly agree, 38%. So if you add up them, it's 79% or almost 80%. They actually agree that they enjoyed in-class debate and interaction. Yes?
How many students?
Oh, this is, I don't know, as I mentioned, this is several years. This is, I use the Google survey and I download all the results and I put it in Excel, and this is from this combined several semesters data. And I was actually still on my list. I was planning to publish a paper based on that one and using the data, but I think in total, if you look at it, it will be several hundred students. So the sample is very, very large. It's not a small sample at all, okay? Because in my undergrads, each semester I have around 100 students. And graduate students, I have around 60 students. So you can imagine in that way. But the response rate is not 100% because this is a voluntary. I send it to them, but I get it over 50%, 60% response rate when I ask them to participate in the survey, okay?
So the reliability and
It is very, very high, very high. So again, this in-class discussion. So again, you can see the discussion and interaction took place in the classroom. They like it. They say, I like this one. I really like in-class debate that enhanced my knowledge and helped me to analyze the situation in the market. I most like how contributing subject with examples of our life and asking questions during the lecture which force us to concentrate. Okay? So basically, again, they're saying that when you link the subject to the real life, and when you ask the questions, though, you kind of force us to really establish the connection with real interaction in class, helped me understanding the subject quickly. So again, you can see it's like helping them to digest the subject a better way. So again, I enjoy and benefited greatly from the Socratic debate and forum on Moodle. So you can see here again we have 39, 41, 61%, still is above 50%. Not everyone is really liking, but still 60% is actually good things. That the reason that I find out that some did not like the Socratic forum, because it was open forum, they will see how everyone is answering, and they feel that everyone already mentioned something, they feel the pressure to speak their mind. What I did, I closed the forum, they will never see the answer from the other student until they post their own answer. So in that way, they don't feel any pressure. They don't know what everyone is saying. They have to just speak their mind first. Then they can, and after that, the rates improve better. So they start to like it. Before, they were feeling that they are under pressure to say something better than everything already said. So therefore, they didn't like it. It wasn't a pleasant experience. But still, it's actually one of good. So again, what to say, the debates and the Socratic debate on class, also the food for mind was interesting. That's what they like it. I'm really thankful that I had this course with you, and I very much regret the opportunity I missed the course, like the Socratic forum. Again, you can see that they say. And then I liked it, it provided the best material to make us practice well and fully understand the subject. So practice well and fully understand the subject. It's very important. The class was always interactive and had mind-provoking discussions and enjoy it very much. So again, you can see that basically interaction, it's what they are looking for, and asking good questions, they ignite their interest is really, really important. I like the introduction part of the class where you urge us to think differently. And actually they know that any idea is welcome. So in other words, you have my phrase is that you have a right to be wrong. Wrong, fine. You should not feel pressure that when you speak your mind. So, and therefore, they feel absolutely free to speak their mind. They know that they're not going to be embarrassed if somehow they say something that's really nonsense. The freedom and acceptance of hearing different point of views. They really like this a lot. So debate and accept different point of view, again, mentioned. Encouraging creative and analytical thinking. And again, how you led us to through critical thinking, and I learned that I should not say yes or no until I have all information needed. The most thing I like in the class that the professor, that to improve our way of thinking and imagination each class by the mind exercise and by asking questions. And actually, particularly for MBA class, my objective is to make sure that students get what you call analytical thinking and critical thinking skill, which basically means that they can now think in a scientific manner when they approach a certain problem. They can actually see how they can establish their hypothesis, they can collect the data, they can test their hypothesis and make decisions based on an established scientific way rather than opinion. And the critical thinking is basically means that they are ready to listen different views and they tolerate or even appreciate the differences. Always a new creative way of thinking, had to think a lot and think outside the box. Had to think a lot, again. Challenges, brain teasers, and different way of teaching. I enjoy and benefited greatly from the resource sharing forum. Again, you see this is below, what? 50%, right? Obviously it wasn't favorite for them because, again, we want them to really share with others what they find. The other one I enjoy benefit greatly from the motivational forum. Again, it's below 50%. You know, there are some like, but it's not for everyone. It's very obvious. I enjoy and benefit greatly from an APLIA homework practices. Look, this is a weekly assignment. Initially, when we started this one, they went even to the president to say, no, this is too much, we don't want to do that. I insisted on to have it, and eventually, at the end, it was a lot of pain because you have to do assignment every week, and you can see here, they truly like to practice with that. Now, APLIA, you might say, they copied it. Actually, APLIA has a customized question for every single student. So we ask, let's say, a certain question, there is certain algorithm, it just changed the number and asked different questions to different students. So there's no way for them to really copy and paste. So they have to go through and learn how to solve the problem. Therefore, it has been really very helpful. I enjoy and benefited greatly from APLIA handwritten assignment. That was the handwritten part they liked less. So again, this is the comment about the APLIA. I enjoy and benefited greatly from the textbook. So what do you see? The textbook is actually 39%. So most of them don't read at all. Guess what? I even find out there are some students, they are hiring someone to read the textbook for them. Yes, literally. They hire some others to read for them and to tell them what is in the textbook. It's really amazing things that, you know, when you really look at how they try to. No, again, I think, I don't know. I think, you know, for our students, mostly they don't have any language problem.
Well, ours do.
Yeah, I think it's not language. It is like, in a way that there are some students, they are not willing to really put their time and efforts. There are some. And I consider the exam as a fair and effective means for my learning assessment. So again, that's really very important. And overall, 73% thinks that is fair. And though it was very, as I mentioned, it's challenging. So there's some, and enjoy and benefit greatly from rubrics. I use rubric a lot. And actually for every class, I have a rubric for them. And again, you can see that 60% really like the rubric. And applied paper, again, you can see over 60% like the applied paper. And again, there's some knowledge, really, some feedbacks on applied paper as well. And this is one thing, I got a lot of complaint at the beginning, but at the end, they really like it because they find out that it was really helpful for them to practice what they learn in class. We have applied paper for the MBA class only. I'm enjoying great benefit from the bonus practice question during the class. Look here, that's how they, 40% strongly agree, 24% agree they like it, the bonus practice question in class. And again, it's not for everyone, but you have significant percentage, they really like this practice. Enjoy and benefit greatly from the review session. Now, one thing I find out for the review session, that actually all of my exam and assessment, final exam is always comprehensive. Now, students always complain. My argument is very simple. I never ever had any final exam which is not comprehensive. Their question is why. I say because I, as an educator, I am convinced based on the studies that the comprehensive exam is actually better for measuring and pushing to the deep learning. Now, one thing I do, the reason I believe that comprehensive exam is better because that I do the review session, then I basically summarize everything that I cover the whole, like this, I cover how many, 13 or 14 chapters. Now students going to take a final exam from 13 chapters. They are absolutely shocked how they can do that. I will have a review session, and in a review session I will actually summarize the entire 15 chapters in only 5 slides and link them together. So in a sense that I will draw it the relationship and the concept on the board. When they see the entire picture, then I ask them, I say, now tell me, can you do any other assessment other than comprehensive? They will say absolutely not, because it's all linked together. Once they see they're all linked together, they acknowledge and accept that the assessment cannot be otherwise, because the subjects are not really disconnected, are connected, so therefore it's really important to understand the connection. Overall, I'm completely satisfied with this course. You can see here, again, I'm not at my goal, which is 80%, but I'm almost there. But I want to have 80% here, okay? But overall, it's 77%. They are overall completely satisfied with the course. Now, why does the keys? Did I manage to change their heart? Here's the things that I want to show to you in terms of changing the heart. This is the second part of the survey. The first part is about the teaching methods and to see what works, what doesn't work, and to revise accordingly. The second part is about the outcome, to see whether I was able to really change their heart and mind about subject. Yes, question?
I think, can you give the students the opportunity to link all of your 15 chapters together? Ask them to link them together, and after they link it, you can correct them for them or modify based on, because we always see good students that link the whole information to each other, and the student also like it from their perspective too.
Exactly. But that's why I'm saying that I see is almost necessary to have a review session that actually I do at the beginning of semester and at the end of semester. At the beginning I call it like a roadmap. You need to see the entire picture. I give them the outline of what I'm going to cover. But it doesn't make too much sense to them. Once I cover all chapters, at the end I spend around 2 to 3 hours, have the review session, and make sure that I cover and link all the subject together. And I use the diagram and actually write it down, not the PowerPoint, and write on the board, and then after that I will save them and post it on the smartboard and post it on Moodle in Keys if they want to see that. So in a sense that I find out that if we in our mind can see this connection and make it clear, the connection to students, it helps them a lot to really understand the subjects. In a way I look at it like this. It's like we are giving them a big puzzles with many different pieces. When we put all this piece together, they see the entire pictures, then they really enjoy and like it, and it can stay with them for longer term. For the outcome part, I used to think the economics is about money, not human. Now, I see whether I can change this one. For this one, pay attention to the red color. See what happened? See, those who think economics is about money, not human, is at the beginning. Those who disagree, only 16%. Means the rest actually agree or neutral. They think economics is all about money, not about human. Right? Now look here. So those who disagree now is 72%. So basically means that I was able to change their perception, mind and heart about the subject. So the way that the subject was presented was able to actually flip over their perception of economics. Look at this one. I used to think that economics is very difficult. Now again, I'm telling you that we compete with the College of Medicine. Most students, when they fail in medicine, they come to business. Now I'm almost reversing the trend because more students fail. The failing rate in my class is almost as high as the failing rate in the medicine, okay? So it's not about getting free grade at all. But despite that, look, I used to think economics is very difficult. Now, disagree only 24%. Look at here. Disagree is 44%. So basically means that I was able to change their perception that economics is something difficult. So in this case, that means that somehow that I was able to really change their perception that economics is difficult by presenting the subjects in more simple way. I used to think that economics is boring. Now what is the percentage agree with the statement? 44%, right? Almost half of class used to think that economics is boring. Now look at here. What is the percentage that thinks economics is boring? 13%. Those who agree with the statement is only 13%. So basically means that they find out that the subject is interesting and that's the reason they will like it. I used to like economics. What is the percentage who like? 31, right? The percentage who dislike? 29, almost same, right? 30%, 30%. 1/3 absolutely dislike, 1/3 like it. Look here now. I know like economics. So the percentage is 71% and dislike is now is down from 29 to 12%. So it's very clear that the student changed their perceptions and attitude toward economics. I used to think economics is important for my professional and business life. Now, see, it seems like most things that, what is the percentage? 28, 68, right? Now look at here. See? So 68%, they think the economics is important for their professional and business life. And after that, what is the percentage? 95% are convinced that economics is actually important for their professional and business life. %, right? Less than 50% used to think economics is good for their personal life because it's about money, right? Look here. So the percentage now is 87%. It basically means that they now realize that the subject is not only good for their job, it's also good for their personal life as well. So again, you can see that those some feedback they give when they do the survey, because I had the open feedback part, that what they like, what they dislike. So again, you see that I think all of us like your way of teaching. That is very interesting and make us learn and enjoy what we are learning. So enjoy what we are learning, which basically means that the learning can be an enjoyable experience. Again, one of the best courses learned so much. So again, they are fine. They're actually happy to learn so much. Okay? And again, they like the way of teaching to be enjoyable. So again, you can see that they're talking about motivational and support for students, and the class was very enjoyable. I have never felt bored or in need of a distortion. So again, you can see that basically it's very, what they appreciate is interesting discussion in class to make it more enjoyable to them. And the subject content, so basically you can see that they really care about something beyond the textbook. It's very clearly, and also trying to think outside the box. They really appreciate this as well. What I call that at the end, I really want to, what I value is what I call converters. That's the students that will really now understand and appreciate. And I get some, because the economics is mandatory for engineering, and medicine is not mandatory for all other majors, it's mandatory. And some students in other field, when they take it, and they actually, you see, they now decide to major in economics or do some master in economics. I call the converters. They really appreciate the knowledge and want to get it. Now, finally, what is takeaway from all of those? So we have only 8 minutes. Yes?
You finish, please. I have a comment and a question.
Yes.
So you very strongly convinced that heart comes first and then mind, right?
Yes.
Just imagine when Socrates, the best ever teacher of the West, when he was in the street and he was asking a question, what is justice and fairness? Was it touching the heart or mind? All the philosophers, they believe that the heart is unlike the door. The door can be opened from outside, but if you want to open the heart, you have to go through the mind and you have to open it from inside, and then you can deliver the knowledge. So he was touching the mind. The second question is a contradictory. Yeah, I respect your opinion. I have a different one. But the second question is, you have 21 different ways of teaching, and thanks for sharing all the credentials, which has taken most of the part of this third session. If I remember correctly, one of the students came to you 6 times, right?
Yes.
This is what you mentioned.
Correct.
What did you do when he was coming third time to you? He was coming to you third time. What special did you do to make him pass the course or her pass the course?
Good. Very good. So let's move, that's the first question, the second one. So the first one in terms of whether heart or mind comes first. One way we say there's a divergent thinking. Divergent thinking means this. There could be more than one way to the same destination. So in a sense that I'm not presenting this one as an absolute truth. And this is one way I think really makes sense and help me, and it works well. But I'm not claiming that is the way or the only way. And I think your arguments make sense as well. So that's perfect. We don't have to really be in a position that I have to defend. Oh, you're not challenging. No, perfectly fine. It seems like I think it's a good, very good point. So, but the question is that the way Socrates was doing when he was asking question, whether he was really addressing to the heart or to the mind, which one first? Again, I think it all depends on maybe what was his intention. My argument might be that he was still trying to address to the heart in a sense that by motivating the learner first. Because remember, we use the motivation as appetizer for the learning, which basically goes through the liking, emotion. So that's what I call part.
Using the plate and the pencils of the mind,
Correct.
he was giving appetizer.
Perfect. Again.
Right? Yes.
And again, I think that's what you make. It's also, it seems like a reasonable argument as well. And the jury's out there; they can decide which one. So it doesn't have to be. I think again, what you mentioned is really logical, and I understand your point, and I have my way to see what is that. But I think it could be both ways as well. It doesn't have to be one way. Your second question in terms of a failing student repeating several times, what would you do that? And actually, I went to the dean. I said that, she's not alone. There are, like 15, 20 students. They are repeating several times, or at least more than 2 times. And my suggestion is that we need to develop a course for those students alone, to deal with them individually, to see what is their problem, and to approach them through the different way. But unfortunately, when you have a large class of, let's say, 70 to 90, you cannot customize to each individual. And I think that's somehow a failure in the system. I still try to encourage them to say, come to me and try to see what is their way, what is the mistakes they are doing, and how they can change this one to really improve themselves. But still, at the end of the day, I have to deal with them all together collectively. So again, I think you're right. You have to really do that, and we try to do that. But my argument is that what I ask myself is this: Did I open my door? Did I try to identify those students? Did I try to call them and to see how can I help them given my condition? If I do this, I feel well, because not everything's under my control. The students, some students, literally they're just enrolled, they come to class for fun and they are not interested. I can't really I don't have a magical solution for everyone.
This is what we do. I have a comment about that because you went to the dean for a special
Yes.
course. What about, you were mentioning one of the techniques is about a peer pressure.
Yes.
This is a very common one, like breach of the gap. There are 20 students sitting over there, they are A category, and then there is someone D or F. So if you design the group discussion in a way
Sure.
that you have a good student over there and someone, and students, they learn from their teachers, but they learn best from their friends as well.
No, I agree. I think that's perfect. That's perfect point. Correct. But that's again, that requires that you need to know all of your students. You need to have enough times that you do those activities, that you target them directly. That's again. But my suggestion is always that you need to have a gap on the class size that you can customize more toward the students. But when you have a large class size, it becomes more challenging. But I still agree. But again, I'm not saying that I'm perfect at all. But I really understand that we need to look at those cases and see how we can help them to succeed. Yes, you're welcome. Any other question? Yes.
Just a very short comment in between parentheses and the question. Short comment is that Socrates, when he went out to people, he was always making the assumption that ideas are not to be discovered or to be imparted by him.
The constructive
But rather
learning
to
theory.
be discovered by the
Correct.
person he approached. So the learner discovers the idea because it's innate. They are not somehow existing outside of that brain. But leaving this aside, going back to more practical issue. Now you have listed like 21 activities. Clearly you don't use them all in one semester with the same group.
Not in
You
the
have
same
some
manner.
principle-
Correct.
Some principle to select. Now what is your optimal number of activities? You asked us 5. I don't know whether that was an
Yeah,
optimal
but
number.
again, I tell you that I think my optimal will not be less than 10 at all. Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, I have 10 of those activities actually graded activity directly.
That's what
Yeah,
you're
because again, what I mean when I ask you about the graded activity, I mean it's not like it just come to your mind today. You need to design the course in a way with certain activity that you can assess them as well and do a part of that is because again, otherwise it's just lecturing and grade based on the exam. That really doesn't work well for all students. It takes a lot of time and resources, but again, that I think that's we need to do if necessary. Anyway, I think we are done, and I was gonna give you this takeaway things. So basically, I hope that you can do yourself that things about your teaching activities based on the model we discussed, and try to see what are the strategies that work for you, and then try to see how you can incorporate this one in your syllabus. I think the takeaway lesson today, if you don't have anything to really incorporate in your syllabus in this semester, where maybe what you have, the time you have it here mostly is waste to a certain extent. So we hope that you look at those activities and ideas that we have, and you try to find out some things that can really make your teachings better this semester. And I think that you can always find something if you really look for that one. We don't have time to do it individually, but I hope that you will do as a kind of homework assignment to incorporate into your syllabus. Thank you very much.